Hi, it's Amber. Welcome back. This week we are working on lakes. So there, I'll pop up my reference in a moment and we'll sketch out the little bits, the horizon, not lakes, islands. Why did I say lakes? Lakes was last week. This week is islands. So I'm just going to leave it like that because that's the kind of week this is. So I am sketching my horizon, sketching my island, per a picture from Unsplash. I will pop the picture in, like I said, in the corner. There will be a name. If you want to use that reference as well, you must also give credit to the person and let people know where you found the photo. On Unsplash, there it is. So lots of blue, a little bit of island. On this one, I'm going very, very loose. I'm using 100% cotton rag paper on purpose to make sure that I stay loose. All that texture is going to give me a lot of negative white space. I'm using a less expensive brush because this paper is so textured that I feel like I don't want to use one of my really nice ones per se, and I want to stay really loose. And this is going to ensure that I'm not worrying about my brush. I'm not worrying about much except for getting paint on that paper. And that's the intention here. This video is demonstration is only going to be a little bit over 10 minutes. And so I want you to just enjoy the moment, enjoy the color, and maybe try that for yourself. It doesn't have to be this picture, but something quicker, something less thought out, less details. See how much white this paper is letting me have? I'm taking water back in and I am watering down the darker pigment and just kind of letting things flow and be loose. Again, I'm wetting my brush. I'm not rinsing it. I'm not even drying it off. I'm just using water and pulling some of the pigment that's already sitting there. And I go back and forth between adding pigment, adding water, adding pigment, and then, using the clean, semi-clean brush to kind of just loosen everything up a bit. And since this paper is so textured, the white space will continue to kind of pop through even if I do color in the paper, so to speak, right? A lot of times if you're using 100% cotton, that white, it can show through, but it doesn't as much because this paper has so many dips and valleys. The paint tends to kind of sit on those highs, and then lows it kind of tends to stay a little bit lighter. And that's the cool thing. There's a learning curve with this paper for sure. So a lot of times when people get it, they're like, no. Again, there's a big learning curve and it just takes some time and some practice. And you can use a cloth like I'm doing and just dab out extra color. And I didn't want it to get too dark near the horizon. So now I'm going to add in the water. I'm going to let the sky dry while we do the water. And I'm using a different color blue. And I am using all handmade paints right here. This is a ocean deep color, or is it deep blue? Ocean deep? Ocean wave is for the sky, and a little bit of snow. And then down here on the bottom is, I can't remember. Anyway, not important. I don't want you to get so stuck on these colors. I just love these colors and love to share these colors because they're amazing. And see how much light is getting in the middle of that page? I love it. I don't leave it that way, but just think of all the opportunities that you could do, all the different explorations and things you could do with the light, right? It could be a meadow, it could be a field, same thing, but and just all that light is just there. And so I should have just left that like that instead of filling it in more, or not could have. I could have left this light and just kind of let it be just a sky and water thing. Water practice. I still struggle with water a lot. So for me, this paper is a little bit of, it's good for me to let go. I really do struggle with trying to make water look like water. And I know that's not necessarily the way to do it, but I just struggle so much that I'm not really sure still how to do it, even though I do so many Skillshare tutorials and YouTube tutorials all over the place. So anyway, here I am just going in back in the water. I'm raising up the horizon line a little bit because I want the island to sit in the water a bit. And so that's why I'm doing that there and just trying to even it out too. I think my horizon went a little downhill there on the right. Again, this is okay. This is all practice. Take it for what it is. Just explore, have fun, and just create something. Find a reference of your own if you don't care for this one. This is a very simple reference, or a very simple painting. The reference, not necessarily, in my opinion, because again, I find water so challenging. Skies, I'm finally embracing, but water is still just really on that list of things that I struggle with. And so I am using a sand color for this island. Odds are it's probably made of sand, so perfect. I am also sticking in this little hut that I saw in the reference. And I'm not really sure that benefits my art in the end, but it is what it is. And I did stick it there. I'm not sure. I probably should have just passed on that part, but that's okay. I'm going to continue painting this little tiny little hut on this little tiny island out in the middle of the ocean, which, you know, logically probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's okay. Maybe somebody owns the island and therefore put this little hut there so that they could sit on their island and enjoy their island. I mean, I guess that's, if I had that kind of resource, I probably would do the same thing, or I don't know. And so I'm just going to keep fiddling with that. And this paper does tend to stay wet longer, so I could potentially go in and fiddle with the sky. I could go fiddle back in with the water, which I'm going to do. You see me trying to darken it up a little bit. And then I take a round. I think this is a pretty small round. I decided to use this for my palm trees because I wanted to get the suggestion of palm trees. I'm not painting each and every little palm leaf. I'm just giving the idea that these are palms, right? So that's what I love about loose. You don't have to go in for every detail. You're just giving the suggestions. You're laying down an idea for people to take or not take with them. They may think it's a shrub or a bush, and that's fine too. It doesn't truly matter, but the island aspect and the ocean tend to, your mind tends to go to a palm tree, so I got lucky on that one. I'm using Mosh's greens, which I absolutely love. I rotate between serpent green, and I mix some tree bark in there and deep shadow green. I love all her greens. I just mix them all together and vary those so that you're not using the same green the whole entire time. And that is another thing, even if you're doing a blue sky or a blue ocean or something, you don't want to just do a flat one color, paint. A lot of like handmade paints do have granulation, so you're not going to necessarily have that. But if you're using, just one color out of a tube. Sorry, little interruption. Put the kids to bed and they didn't actually go to bed. So back to it. I'm going to just keep adding these colors. And I think what I was saying was a lot of times with handmade paints, you're getting colors with more than one color in them. So you're getting, not single pigments. So the odds are your colors are going to variegate, granulate, and move and change naturally. And you can just add hints of different colors. You can just add maybe a little neutral tint, a little orange, a little whatever you like to your greens if you're using single pigments, and that can change it too. So a little goes a long way in suggestions and in color variations and everything really. So I didn't, necessarily draw these palm trees out. I think I did draw maybe 5 of the trunks just so that I had an idea where my trees would go. So I did leave that white space in the middle for the trees so that I wouldn't be painting the trees on top of the sky per se. And again, I'm just trying to keep everything loose. I could have fast forwarded through these little palm tree drawing paintings, but I left them there for you so you could, see this in real time. I did edit out a few of the extended arm reaches just so that you weren't staring at my arm the entire time. And this isn't necessarily an exciting portion, but just take your time and play with the shapes and play. There's a few shrubs in the reference picture, and I'm putting a little shadow down. And so there's palms, there's shrubs, there might be a third type of a tree, and just do what you can. Suggest it. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. Just make some green blobs, and that's what it is. So there I'm adding in some kind of land that extends into the water. It looks kind of like they're just rocks or part of a beach that maybe, how the rocks come up a little bit higher away from the water, or maybe there's a little bit of a sand bar. Is that what those are called when they pop up a little bit? I'm not really sure. It just reminded me of kind of a pirate, and I realize how far down my right side goes now. I can't remember if I fixed it or not. Hopefully I do. But it's okay if I don't, because again, this is just practice. This is not perfect. This is full of imperfections, and that's okay. This is a great practice for exploring colors and shapes and brushes. So you're trying all these things out to see if you can get to where you could sit down and do this reference on a nice piece of 100% Arch cotton, and you know what colors you like, what brushes you could use. So this is almost like a little thumbnail sketch, right? Like your little preliminary, your warm up, your just your little piece to show you what you're capable of. If you can do it, if it intrigues you, if you do this and you're like, well, don't like that at all, then you can skip the reference, and you don't have to find a different reference, right? So this kind of gave me the idea that, yeah, I do like this one. Maybe I would try it again, but maybe I just like the loose, and that's okay too. Like, I don't have to want to do a very detailed one. So that's it. I'm adding the birds, and I'm going to call it after that, even though my water is definitely lower on the right-hand side. And I guess we're just going to go with that because maybe that's how life is. I did add a third bird. So I do like to do birds in either twos or an odd number. And that's about it. Those are the brushes I used there on the right, a round, a mop, around, and a liner. And so I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you give it a try, and I hope you enjoy painting from your own reference photo. And we'll see you next time. So thanks for joining. Oh, look at that. That white was bothering me. I did remember that now. I was like, oh yeah, that was way too white. So I'm just dropping in some more paint because I did not use a dryer on this. So everything was still a little bit wet. And that's okay too. Things can be changed. So there we go. Kind of Tommy Bahamish, isn't it? That's what it reminded me of a little bit. Random Island. All right. See you next time. Bye.